let's improve upon this process. How can we make this better? So now that we know that we're getting hashes with responder, we can utilize NTLM Relay X to authenticate to host with SMB signing disabled. We can try to run some commands. This is where PowerShell Empire comes into play. So when we set up PowerShell Empire as this post-exploitation tool, we set this up to configure agents. We want agents coming back and listen to us. The first thing we want to do is start our server. That'll get loaded. Our server will be running on our local machine here, and that's what we're going to use to have our agents call back, our listeners set up and execute on our machines within our network that we're trying to compromise. So now that's set up, we're going to run our PowerShell Empire client, and there it's going to connect to our local host, and here we are within it. You can see there's 393 modules. We don't have any listeners or agents currently active. We'll definitely change that here in a minute. So the first thing that we want to do is set up a listener on here and configure that. Easiest thing to do is go and use listener, and you can see that Empire PowerShell is smart enough to auto-complete these commands that we're looking to run. It knows what we want to do. It suggests what you should do based on the input that you're giving it. We want to use a listener HTTP. So as we go in here, there's going to be some things that we need to set up, and it needs to use our local IP address. So we can see here, we're going to split this, and I just want to see what my IP address is, and it's 172.16.23.10. So it's not set up on that right now. So what we want to do is set our bind IP to 172.16.23.10. I also want to set my IP set host to my 172.16.23.10. And then the last thing I want to do is set port. Let's use set port 81. No big deal on that. Tricky here, capitalization within this it does matter. So make sure we have the capital P there for port. So let's execute this, and we can see up here, listener started, give us success down here. All right, so what we want to do now is back out of this, go back to Empire. So we want to set up a stager next. So let's use stager, and again, PowerShell's nice enough to complete this for us. We want a multi-launcher. And in here, we have to set this launcher to use our HTTP listener. Set it to HTTP listener, and let's generate. When we hit generate, what it does is it gives us this beautiful encoded PowerShell that we're going to run as a command on our host within our network that has SMB signing disabled, and we know that we can authenticate to. So we'll go back to our previous command here. We still have responder running. We have our targets.txt file. So now to run a command, we do tac-c, and we're going to paste in our PowerShell. Big long command here, backspace up 1 to it, and get in our parentheses, close it out for the command that we want to run. So now we're going to hit enter, and this is going to run. It's going to wait for connections over here on the side. We'll close this out since we don't need that anymore. And let's see, agents. We do not have any agents right now. So as we come back over here, we're still waiting for connections. We see some traffic, we see succeeded. It's coming through here. So we have our listener started. Still not getting anything. We be patient, still coming through, requesting, succeeded. And here we are, agent coming through, sending stage. And now we have an agent. Now we have command and control of this system. Pretty easy to do this stuff. So now what can we do? Well, let's interact with this agent. Interact, and it's going to autocomplete. We're using the name here. You can rename this to whatever you want. I'll just leave it as that name for now. And what we can do is just come over here and we can stop this. So we don't need it anymore since we have the agent that we want to interact with. The first thing I want to do is get some information. I want to see what are we working with. We'll get some general information, the listener, but the main thing that I'm looking for is this high integrity. High integrity of 1 or true means that we are local administrator of this host. Another thing we can check in on is help. So what can we do in here? What can we do in PowerShell Empire? We can download files. We can do a history of the tasks receives, info. We just got that information. We can execute scripts, commands. We can do shell commands, all sorts of stuff. Who am I to see who we are? We can run Mimikatz to try to get credentials, bypass UAC. So if we weren't high integrity of 1 local administrator, we can use that to help bypass that UAC to help us escalate our privileges to that. So let's just run who am I? Let's see who we are. So we're gonna run, it's gonna run, go out to the agent, take a second to come back and see, confirming high integrity of 1, NT authority system. So we are the highest level user that we could be on this. Perfect. So the other thing that I would want to do is run Mimikatz. Mimikatz will go out and get hash credentials, clear text credentials on the machine, so it'll send it out and run on there. So while we're waiting for that to come back, let's look at our password cracker. So we were able to ran this a little bit earlier, and we put that hash that we first got from responder, this hash way back up here, this one that was coming through, this .100 and .101 hash, we ran it through and we were able to crack this very easily. You can see in 4 minutes and 26 seconds, it was status is cracked, 4 minutes and 26 seconds to crack these hashes as we're coming through. Pretty quick and easy. So what we're able to do is confirm. Let's confirm what if we got that. So this will spit out the Mimikatz command, will spit out a bunch of information, different hashes, but it's kind of hard to read. Fortunately, PowerShell Empire has implemented another feature in here, credentials, where it'll take all that information and put it in nice and easy for us to see. And we can see here, we have 4 different credentials from that machine, hash credential, hash in the corresponding hash, another hash, corresponding hash, plain text password stored in memory, summer of 2018 that they have configured. That's the password that we ended up cracking over here within our password cracking machine. So we can confirm that that plain text credential is what we have, but here we are. We have our administrative access, NT authority system, highest level privilege user that we can be. We're getting clear text credentials for the users. There's the persistent module in here that you can use, but we won't do that for this demonstration. Just know that that is available, that I can take this and set up a module. So anytime that this computer this machine that we've been able to compromise reboots, it'll automatically call back and we'll get a new agent. So it stays persistent even through the reboot. So as you can see here, we can turn small misconfigurations within a network with something like a hash being sent through the network, us responding to it, capturing it, to small things like SMB signing not being required, into persistent access, dumping clear text credentials, all without ever knowing what a password is. So I hope you enjoyed this demo. Thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm Zack Thornton with nGuard, and I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much.